Welcome to A Bit of Insight with Lisa Mosbey, your weekly dose of health, wealth, and everything else. Well, welcome everybody today on A Bit of Insight. I'm joined by the dynamic and multifaceted Vanessa White Eagle. She is a powerhouse entrepreneur with a story that spans service, sales, and soul. From serving in the United States Air Force to becoming a respected luxury real estate salesperson in Hawaii, Vanessa's path has been one of reinvention and resilience. She is the owner of Love Kawaii, Chibi, and she's going to tell us about that because I know I butchered the name. A creative brand. This is a creative brand that's infused with charm and heart, and she also owns a financial agency with the World Financial Group, where she empowers others to claim financial freedom. And her past experience includes time with Aflac. And, you can just tell by all these different things that she's done that she has a deep passion for helping people transition and transform their lives. And we're going to talk about some of the challenges, health challenges that she faced and is still where she is today. Vanessa embodies the spirit of perseverance, vision, and abundance. So in this episode, we're going to dive into what it means to overcome life's big transitions, how she's built a lifestyle rooted in both discipline and aloha, and then the mindset it takes to thrive in business. So welcome, Vanessa. Thank you so much for being with me.
Well, thank you, Lisa. That was quite the introduction. Wow. And I appreciate you having me here. It's humbling, and your background is amazing too through our conversations before that we talked. So I respect you, and hearing that come from you means a lot. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I like it when people give me their bio, but it's more fun for me to actually dig into their socials and pull out those things that sort of resonate with me. And I want to start with Kawaii Chibi. So let's start there because I butchered
Oh,
the name.
yes.
I know that this is it's from your Japanese heritage, and people
Yeah.
don't, I mentioned that you're in Hawaii and you have this Japanese background. So there's just so many points of interest in your life that I want to cover. But let's start there. Tell us about what it
Okay.
was like to build that brand and what that means. What does that represent?
Yes. So love Kawaii Chibi. It's well, obviously love, and kawaii just means cute in Japanese. And then Chibi is actually little one in Japanese, but it means it's actually the name of my dog, Maltese, that I had owned for gosh, around 15 years. And right when I want to say, how old was I? I was in the Air Force still, and he was just my little buddy. He stuck through me, next to me through so many hard times, and like we were talking about transitioning and overcoming and just being in a man's world. I was a network engineer, so being a network engineer is already a man's world. But on top of that, in the Air Force, military, again, a man's world. So it was very rough of a situation. And just having my doggy, my angel, I call him, because he's still my angel. He still looks after me. He comes to me in my dreams at night every now and then. And the brand was built around him. So the reason I built that brand is really just out of gratitude. When he passed away, I
Yeah.
I got so much joy and pure love. I mean, dogs are just, they teach us what it means to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
And they literally help us open our hearts to love. I mean, I see human beings all the time. They can be so sweet to a dog, but they can be so nasty to other humans. It's so sad. But because they are pure love, right? How can you not love a dog? Anyway, the brand is all about him. So he left me just feeling so much gratitude, and every time I think about him, I just want to cry, because I just, we're humans. We're not perfect, and I always wish I could have done more for him as much as he gave to me. But if you've ever owned a Maltese, you would know that they are small, but they are brave. They're so courageous. He taught me how to be brave, fully loving, sweet, gentle little guy, but so brave. And so love Kawaii is just, he always, every morning I'd see his face, even when I was going through my health problems, disability. I mean, every time I saw his little face, it gave me a reason to get up in the morning. And I kid you not, had it not been for him, I probably still wouldn't be around. There were so many times I contemplated taking my own life when I was going through that
Yeah.
super hell. I was in physical pain. It was nerve damage, so I literally couldn't sleep. I was in so much pain, but he kept me going.
Yeah.
And so just every time I saw his face, I felt happy, I felt grateful, and I wanted to spread that to other people. And some people, we take things so lightly, like a nice cup of coffee or just a good conversation. But I truly feel those small little moments of happiness, of gratitude, of, oh my gosh, this is a cute sticker. This makes me feel good. This brings me a little bit of joy. That's how
Yeah.
we build on our happiness in just the day to day.
And I know many times you have said that you lead with love, and for me too, like in business, we lead with love. We don't lead with transactions, customers, clients. It's not about the transactions. It's about making a difference and pouring into people and hearing their story and coming from a different space, that
Yes.
space of love and compassion and that heart-centered soul space. And I've heard you use those words over and over and over in our conversations, and it's glittered throughout your social media. So it really is how you show up in the world. So thank you for sharing that with folks. Your time in the Air Force, that's kind of first before everything else. It's what's led
Yeah.
into who you are today. How did that shape your approach to business and discipline and really help you to overcome? Bottom line, you had some serious stuff to overcome. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of those skills for overcoming came from your time in the Air Force and that strength that you drew from that. So can you speak to that a little bit? How did that shape your approach to the rest of your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could say that the Air Force is where I developed these skills, but that would be a lie.
Really? Oh,
I
okay.
Yes, yes. I mean, in that, okay, so my father, he was Navy. So he was very strict and he was military school as a child. He was adopted. So I
Um,
came from a very strict household before ever joining the Air Force. So by the time I was 7, I already was an expert marksman. I mean, the Air Force was like cake in that respect. In that respect. Uh, so the discipline was already something that I had had, but I would say, uh, what lesson I learned from the Air Force, the biggest lesson I learned was through experience. And what it was learning who I am not
oh,
and what I'm not about and what my soul is not about. And a lot of times we're taught, okay, go after this career because then you'll be successful, right?
sure.
And a lot of times also too, what I've realized is the word success can mean so many different things to so many different people. So, you know, adopting other people's definition of success was also something that I had to come to my own realization. To me, okay, a successful Air Force career, and then I was planning to go into the UN, right? Okay, that's a successful person. You've dedicated your life to service in the military and now into another government entity. And that all sounded real nice, right? Impact. At the end of the day, I realized that I do not align with what military is about. I do not align with what government is about because it's a win-lose. They're all about overcoming or taking over, or this, I need to get the bigger piece of the pie, and let's go kill these people so we can take this land, or if we don't kill them first, they're going to kill us. At the end of the day, people are all the same. We all want to be able to take care of our families and the people we love. We all want to feel safe. We all want to feel included and part of a community.
Sure.
We all want to feel seen and heard and like we matter. And it doesn't matter what country you're from. And just because the government says you're my enemy, I gotta go and kill you. I mean, at, at a certain point, I realized, and I've never killed anybody, just so you guys know, okay? But I was stationed in Mississippi during Hurricane Katrina, and I was part of the cleanup crew. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, God, I mean, I will never forget. It looked like a ghost town. I mean, there was bodies everywhere. There was homes that were just looted. Um, there was literally huge ships that were out in the middle of the road because like the tsunami came, right? And it what I've learned through those experiences is what really matters to me in my life. When you're in a life and death situation, when there's dead bodies all around you, do you care whether or not you're wearing Gucci? No, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one person's definition of success, for example, right? And I'm not
Sure.
saying that I'm not knocking anything, brands or whatever. Do what makes you happy. But what I'm saying at the end of the day, what you find when people are on their deathbed, the things that they think about are the things that they wish they could have done that, but they never did, and the times that they wish they could have been kinder, but they weren't,
Yeah.
right? More
Do you feel like
loving,
that was
more
one of the
open.
hardest? Do you think that that was one of the hardest personal transitions you had to go through was being there and seeing that and like that had to have reshaped you. It had to have changed you in ways that only people who were there could possibly understand. How did your
Absolutely.
mindset help you through that? And what do you
Yeah.
think was different on the other side of it? Just out of curiosity.
What I would say is that at the end of the day, I realized that human connection is what matters. That
Mm,
that really what you're gonna remember is who loved you and who you loved, right? And all those times that somebody was there for you when they didn't have to be, but they did just because of the kindness, 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 kindness. And what changed is we don't have to do all this stuff. We don't have to win or lose. We could all win together
yeah,
if we stopped this mentality of a win-lose, just society in general.
yeah,
And I think at the end of the day, when we're children, we all think that way, but society kind of programs us or puts an expectation on us to be a specific way, to earn a certain income, to be of a certain profession, to be respected, right? If you're a doctor or a lawyer, you get more respect than the guy who is a janitor. Why? I still need a clean space.
yeah,
Everybody's contributing in whatever capacity that they can, and to love, honor, and respect whatever people are able to contribute, especially if it's from a place of giving, if from the heart, not obligation, but this is actually what I want to contribute and do it with joy. That is a completely different experience than going to a doctor who they're just there for the paycheck and they're not giving out of joy. They're like, get in and get out of my office, right?
some
I
are. I
mean,
think we're seeing more functional doctors and different.
right.
Like the world is starting to change. People are
Yes.
realizing that it's
Yes.
more than just transitions or transactions. Transactions. Everything is
Yes.
always a
Yes.
transaction. Yeah, I've
Hmm.
been fortunate to meet a few people who are lining up and they're heart centered. They're just heart centered entrepreneurs. They're
Yes.
heart centered health professionals. They're heart centered business people. There's more and more of
Hmm.
us, and the more we spread that word and lead by example, the more we'll see continuous change. So, and I think that's what appealed to me so much in our conversation and why I wanted you to share some of your philosophies. You've seen some horrific things and you've been through some personal physical health challenges, and yet you still have this no anger, this place of love, this place where you come from with tremendous compassion and kindness. let's tie that into business. You know, you have the Wealth Builders Financial Empowerment Group. You're selling luxury real estate, you know, both highly respectable careers. And you're not doing one, you're pulling this all together with wealth and, you know, wealth and real estate. So,
Mhm.
you know, again, how did you get your mindset around this? How were you able to get up out of the sick bed and do the things that you're doing? And you know, I haven't shared much about your story, but
Yeah.
if you choose to do that, that's fine. Otherwise, people
Yeah,
know.
sure.
You know, I mean, I'm confirming that she's gone through some. I'll use the word hell. Gone through some hell with some of these things, and
Yes.
yet here you
Yes.
are, this amazingly resilient, driven professional. Like, pour into our audience if they're having struggles and you know they're feeling lost and they want to give up, because you were there, you shared that you wanted to give up. Like, what can people do? How can they get back on their feet? How can they turn things around? I'll leave it
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Oh, that's such a good question.
Yeah,
It's gonna be different for everybody. The journey is
absolutely.
always so personal. So I always just share what worked for me. And I say, it's like anything, right? You know, just try it, see what works for you. And then you're gonna find little pieces that work for you and then little pieces that you might need to tweak or you might need to throw out. Feel free to do that because your journey is unique to you. Everybody's got a different personality and all that. So I think my advice is this. A lot of the typical advice is be disciplined. And I'm all about discipline, of course. I think it's this. I think when you are actually aligned with what you feel is right in your heart, discipline is actually easy. It doesn't feel hard at all. It's there might be days where it's a little difficult, but at the end of the day, you remind yourself that you're doing this because it's bigger than you. And so, yeah, for my health issues and stuff, really, I had to start with me. I had to start getting out of bed for me. And that was actually a hard thing because I was used to always doing things for other people, which I mean, I think a lot of women can relate to that, right? We're told to uh, take care of our parents, take care of our siblings, take care of our spouse, and then you have kids, and then you got to take care of your kids. And it's like, when do we as women ever get told you need to take care of yourself first? I mean, that's like a new concept, right? Lately, we hear this fill your cup first. But like when I was a kid, and I know when you were a kid, that was not even on the table. Like, you don't count. You are here to serve others, right?
Yes.
And honestly, that's how I got in that mess. That's how I ended up disabled. That's how I ended up miserable, unhappy, because I kept putting myself last. I was overworking myself in the Air Force, literally getting like 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night, sometimes multiple nights without sleep. And that was normal. That was normal. And because I was so like mind over body, I thought I could ignore my body for years and be okay. Obviously, my body said, you know what? That works in temporary situations, but like not over long year span. You can't keep doing that, right? Honor your body, okay, people. Please, whoever's listening. I actually learned how to listen to my body, which sounds weird, but like, yeah, I had to start with me. I had to find a reason why I wanted to get out of bed. And what I realized, it kind of comes back to what you were talking about. I don't want to live in a world where we aren't loving towards each other. I'm more of afraid of a world that stays the same as it is today, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah.
Where where everybody's afraid to be themselves, where everyone's afraid to open up, and where love is not leading in everything that we do. And so for me, because that was such a big deal, I thought, I know it sounds so funny, but I thought I could die anytime I want if I really wanted to, right? So such a silly conversation with myself in my head, but I was really so much in pain, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, but if I die now, and I was thinking about my dog, and I also have a cat, so At the time, I'm like, well, who's going to take care of them? I don't trust anybody to take care of them the way I do. And then I started thinking to myself, well, if I could die anytime I wanted, why don't I try to actually live one more day? But not
Uh-huh.
just live one more day, but like, what if I could be the first one to overcome this illness? What if I could be the one to show others how to overcome this illness? How cool would that be? And then I just thought, well, what was my whole goal? I always thought as a child, I came here to leave the world a better place than I left. I just always had that in my heart, even as a child. I didn't know what I was going to do. First, I thought I was going to save all the animals. Then I thought I was going to save the ocean and the forest, whatever. Then I thought
Yeah.
I was going to be a pro basketball player. I was pretty good. Whatever. Like as kids, we have all these big dreams.
Yeah.
And then, but it came back to the main thing that I always knew in my heart is all I wanted to do was leave this place better than when I came in. And so I thought, okay, well, this is my opportunity to do so. You asked for it and now you have it. This
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
fun,
It seems pretty simple, doesn't it?
right? Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't the most fun process, but it was the most enlightening process ever. I got to know myself better. And like you were saying, I actually started taking care of myself for the first time in my life. I actually looked at getting sleep, real sleep. Because I had such bad insomnia, nightmares, PTSD, all of that. Um, I had always been to talk therapy. It didn't seem to do the trick for me. So I started doing a lot of different things, different healing modalities, sound healing, meditation, mindfulness, walks in forest, grounding. I'm also Native American, so I've always felt a deep connection to nature, animals, all of those things. Now there's science that proves just putting your feet on the ground literally changes everything within your like 15 minutes can be healing to the blood, to the system. I did fasting, which also helps the body. I know a lot of people are against it, but me personally, it helped me reset some things in my body. I I used to drink heavily because I was just so stressed and like everybody in the military, that's their go-to. It's cigarettes and alcohol and just doing stupid stuff that really isn't to our best interest long term. In the moment, it's an escape mechanism, it's a coping mechanism, but it's not something that works in the long term. So I had to look at the way I looked at the world too, because the, the military programs you to look for everything that's wrong and make sure how to be safe, right? In case you're attacked by a bomb or you're going to get shot at, right? That was my mentality. And I realized that's literally putting you in a lower vibration. You're scared all the time. And if you read books on how to divide and conquer, they're always trying to divide us in opinions, whatever, because that makes us easier to conquer. United, we can really be something special. So the whole journey of my health was really eye-opening to just how much, if we really want to give to the world, and it sounds really cliche, but I had to learn it because I always thought, oh, that sounds so lame. I'm just being transparent. I thought it sounds so lame, but until you put it into practice, until you really start trying and loving yourself, and it's a practice because at first we're not always used to it. There's always a critic in our head, whether that be ourselves or other ones who mean well, right? So just radical acceptance of where you are, but also radical acceptance of the fact that you have 100% control of not staying there. Which when you're in physical pain, you can't walk, you're disabled, you're in and out of a wheelchair, you're in and out of surgeries, that really literally feels impossible. And if you tell somebody that when they're in that situation, it'll make them want to punch you in the face. So don't say it. Right? What do you mean I'm in control of this situation, right? But
Yeah.
um yeah, it's really like hope was the only thing that kept me going. The hope
Yeah.
that, okay, and then you have to talk to yourself like, okay, well, technology is getting better and better every day. I'm sure there's a way that, that's how I had to talk to myself at first. And then as I just started like doing these different things, I did like some, what is it? Physical therapy in pools of water and stuff. And just as you start learning how amazing your body is and the mind body connection, you can talk to your body and it will listen. It will listen. So if you tell your body that, oh, what all the things that are going wrong, then you're going to be in more pain. And that's one of the things I did learn in the Air Force that was helpful is breath. If you're in shock, if your legs blown off, the first advice they actually give you is breathe.
Yeah.
Slow down your breathing. And you think that sounds like such a non-important thing, that could literally save your life, literally. And so that helped me to like regulate my system because I almost went into shock and bled to death when I was in Shanghai one time. That was kind of cool. But another story, that's another long story. Anyway, the
Yeah.
breath, the breath is so important. It literally changes your nervous system. You calm down. And so
Yeah.
when I was in that intense pain, concentrating on my breath, slowing my breathing, and focus on my breathing rather than the pain. If you're somebody who's going through extreme pain, that's what I would suggest, focusing on that at first. And then as you develop that skill, it becomes easier and easier, and then the pain becomes less and less at the forefront. And then just focusing on what needs to be done or what I felt needed to be done for my healing. Because I think also too, there's a million ways to do the same thing, right? There's a million ways to
Yeah.
cut a piece of paper into a snowflake, right? And so there's no one size fits all. So if you feel in your heart that this is gonna heal me, I say go and try it because your belief in the fact that this is what's gonna work is also gonna help it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe,
The power of
belief
our mind.
it's yes, yes,
Yeah. The
exactly.
belief.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you said, it's listening to your soul, actually taking action, finding things to have hope about, starting to realize what's another step. Maybe it's not the best next step. Maybe it's not the right step. What is another step? Can I go do physical therapy? Can I go do breathing? Can I go do meditation? Can I go do, whatever those things were, trying and be willing and open to trying. You were driven to actually get better, not willing to settle for what people were telling you your future was going to look like and staying
Oh
stuck
yeah.
in it. I mean, those are all the things. And then creating boundaries around that. Like, what are you allowing into your brain? You weren't allowing people to dump the negativity. It's like, I want, joy and happiness and gratitude, and I want love surrounding me. I'm going to love on my dog and let my dog pour into me. And if people can't follow in that same suit, then stay away from me because I got this. I'll
Yeah,
figure it out myself. I mean, that's
yeah.
what my takeaways are from a lot of what you've been sharing and what you've shared with me before. Do you have some wisdom? Because not only, the overcoming is one thing. You didn't just overcome, then you went off and you started real estate and, helping people with their financial situation to clean up their financial stuff so that they can qualify for real estate and buy homes. How to, like, once somebody is on the other side of that, what's the mindset to become successful in business? I mean, it's empowering to heal yourself, but it's another thing to get going in business and get started. So can you shed some light on that? Like, where does your drive come from? And what were the steps that you did to actually position yourself to become a successful entrepreneur?
Right. That is a really good question. So it all ties back into my health problems, actually. And this is where I've learned through my life that the things that are the hardest for us, the things that really knock us down, are literally blessings in disguise.
Mm.
Because at that time, had I been fully healthy, I would have kept down my path. I would have graduated from UCLA and then just went right into the UN like I had planned. But I was already miserable on that path. I was so miserable. But I thought, well, getting out of this government agency and into this other one's going to be better. Well, now looking back at it, the fact that I had that disability was what prevented me from being able to qualify to go to the UN. At the time, I was devastated and shocked, but looking back now, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because that is actually what got me into the entrepreneurial mindset. Is like I started applying for jobs after that and I got denied and denied and denied and denied. And of course, no, I'm thinking, well, who would want to hire some disabled person like me when they could hire somebody who's fully capable and not have to deal with that?
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I was telling myself, this is the self-talk I was telling myself. I don't blame them. I'm probably useless the way I am right now. And so enough of that and getting depressed and getting just really down on myself and just I was so feeling useless. And then, at a certain point, I just was like, screw that. If nobody's gonna hire me, I'm gonna hire me. I'm gonna be the one who figures out how to generate income. And so it's funny, I had zero actually confidence in my abilities, but I started teaching ESL as well as Japanese. So, and it was just a survival at the time because I was still going through my health problems, and that's really what helped me get through because I was taking a full course. I was doing a double major and a minor at UCLA, and I was also working 4 part-time jobs, including my Air Force. So I was helping the Air Force. I was reservist at that time while I was going to school, so I could kind of pick and choose my hours to an extent. So I was doing that in addition, and sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where were we going here?
Getting
Uh,
yourself positioned to sell real
oh
estate
yes,
and help people with
yes,
financing. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Okay, so all of this, right? Trying to handle all of this and just the schedule, and so this blessing was that because I could no longer do the career that I was thinking I wanted to do, it challenged me. It challenged me to get out of my comfort zone. And that's when I started tutoring. And that was independent. And that was just my way to generate income at the time. It was just a skill that I had already had. I'm not the best English speaker. I'm dyslexic. So I'm telling you, I had so many things to mentally get over. I suck at grammar. I'm dyslexic. I've, I'm my Japanese is not perfect. My English isn't perfect. So, but I had no choice. I think that's for me what it was is I just had no choice. I had no other way to get hired or any real help. So I didn't have a spouse that could take care of me or anything like that. And so I had no choice. And as I got myself out of my comfort zone, then I started to realize there's a lot more possible than I was allowing myself to believe. I don't
Mm.
need a job to be successful. I can actually create my own income in unique ways. And so from there, actually, I was tutoring, and then I had somehow met with somebody who was already in the financial industry. And so I went for an interview. It was like a group interview. And I just love the idea of residual income and being my own boss. And the fact that it had to do with insurances, like life insurance, and being able to have some, if you got cancer, what would happen, right? Having that money, because I financially struggled so much. I I had the military that I could go to, but the care was not good. I didn't want to go to the VA clinic. So anybody who's in the military, they're going to be laughing. They know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not good. So I was paying out of pocket for care at the UCLA Medical Center. But anyway, that was so expensive, I got into debt. And so it brings me again back to full circle. I feel so passionate about helping people understand how money works, how you can use it to your advantage, because no one teaches us this. And even though I was in the Air Force and at 18, I was already putting money into a Roth IRA, investing, I thought I was doing great. I got sick after 2008 or so. So anybody who had money in the market knows, like, you lost all of it pretty much. And yeah, right. And I didn't know anything about that stuff. All I knew is when I needed the money the most, it wasn't there. And so I went into debt. And that just, when I went into Aflac, I was like, oh, that's great. It's well known in Japan, right? They have some great services. I just felt limited in that environment. I didn't really I could only offer specific things. And so when I found the company that I'm with now, World Financial Group, I felt like, wow, I have all these options. I can help with the estate planning side. I can help with, living benefits. I just had so many more ways that I could help my clients create wealth. And that's really, again, back to what you were saying, Lisa, about heart-based, is I
Mhm.
feel like all of these experiences happen to me because I'm passionate about it, because it happened to me, because I know in my heart, I don't want anybody to have to go through the things I did. I don't want anybody to get bad advice and have to start their life savings all over, or go through what I did, not having the money when you needed it and being in debt. And literally, I thought I was gonna die. I really thought I was gonna be homeless. I did. And that they weren't gonna treat me because I didn't have the money to get treated. So I don't want anyone to ever feel like that. I, Everybody's life is valuable. That's why you're here on this planet. Everyone's soul has a purpose. And not to feel like you don't even deserve the basics for any human being, to not get that is just so sad to me. And I know we can do better as a society. We have to do better.
Yeah.
That's just not right. Yeah.
Your
So,
pain and your challenges and your trauma fueled you. And I think
yes.
sometimes that's where we lose sight, is that we all go through challenges. We all go through, you can call them trials, you can call them tests, you can call it bad luck. I don't care. We all have terms for it. There's a black cloud over your head. We all go through that stuff. And it's how we
Mhm.
react or respond, or we decide we want to come out of that. It comes down
Yeah.
to our mindset. And we hear that all the time. Do you have a fixed mindset? Are you staying stuck? Or are you choosing a growth mindset? Are you choosing to learn from what's going on? Are you choosing to put yourself out there and ask for help from people so that you don't have to stay stuck? And can you turn your mess into your message? Will you allow this stuff to help other people and serve? Maybe it's why you're going through it, because it completely changed the trajectory of your life. And so many other people that we've talked to, it's changed, their traumas have changed the trajectory of their life and made a difference, made an impact. And again, I come back to when you said, I had everything been okay, I would have been on that path and continued to be miserable in the lifestyle choices that I was making. But I had to go through some really tough stuff to live the lifestyle that I have today, the lifestyle that you call aloha, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
luxury lifestyle that you get to live today. So I just want to thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
so, I think it's so inspiring when we get to hear people on the other side, when people are winning and people are doing well and
Mhm.
outside of the stuckness that we all have to go through. So thank you for that. And, how do people get in touch with you? If people want to be a part of your
Yeah.
world, if they need some support
Yeah.
with their real estate or their financial help, how do they reach you? How
Mhm.
do they find you? And we'll make sure we put it in the show notes too, but I'll have you
Yeah.
share that on the podcast as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vanessa underscore White Eagle, that's Instagram. You should be able to find me there. Facebook. I'm redoing all my social media stuff right now. I'm in as you talk about transition and stuff, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. There's a lot of big stuff happening, so I got to get it all organized. But Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube, my YouTube channel, we're probably going to be changing that, but you can get a link for that if you DM me on Instagram. I'll send you the link for the real estate on YouTube. As far as the financial stuff, again, you can DM me. I have a website through World Financial Group, which is also linked on my Instagram. And so it just last in closing to let everybody know my vision is really, why am I in real estate? Why am I in finance? Is because I want to put wealth in the hands of good people. So the more people understand how money works, and instead of being afraid of it or thinking of it as evil, the more that we can use it as a positive tool for change, because I can't do all the work by myself. So I know, Lisa, if I put more money in your pocket, help you get wealthy, you're going to go do your thing. You're going to go inspire more women. You're going to go and use that money to rebuild this world in a way that you feel is making a positive impact. And that is what I want to do. I want to help all those people out there who would normally not get that help to have that help, so that we can all work together and make this just a much more beautiful world that is a reflection of what we truly want to create, not what we've been told we should be striving for.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. What comes to me is, you see people make that heart symbol all the time, and that's exactly how. I mean, it's, to me, it's so cheesy that people do that. And I'm like, if you want to be part of the love train, if you want to be part of Vanessa's world, the love train, that's where she comes from, and she lives it every day. You live it every day, and I love how you pour into people all the time. And thank you so much for pouring into me all of your kindness, compassion, love. Like I said, you've been an inspiration, and I hope that people reach out and get in touch with you, if for no other reason other than to just let you pour into them, because you have a huge heart filled with kindness and compassion, and you always have such a gift to share with folks. So please do reach out to Vanessa and see how she can help you, if there's something she can change in your world or help to pull you out of a place where you're feeling stuck. It is her mission, and she lives it every day. So that's a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for being with me. And hey, everybody. Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Come on back, everybody. We'll be interviewing somebody else next week. You'll hear another inspirational story. So thank you so much for being with us. If I can help you with your social media or your digital marketing for your small business, please reach out. I'm also available to help you with that. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me on A Bit of Insight. To get more involved with our wellness community, grab a copy of my book, Live Well, Travel Far, or to explore our travel offerings, visit the website at insightcenterforwellness.com. And if today's episode gave you something to think about, leave a review, and please share it with a friend. This is Lisa Mosbey reminding you to live well, travel far, and always follow your insight.